once Brad adds you to the intrinsic repo, this is what you're going to see. There are really only two repos specifically that I work with. This I5 one here. This is where all the developers are going in and actually like creating their different branches and writing like either different features or fixes on those branches. What you're going to want to do, actually, if you let's say once you get into this I5 repo, if you scroll to the bottom here, they made a README just kind of going through like getting started with like actually getting this this repo running on your computer. So you start off by forking the I5 repo, so you can do that just by hitting this fork here. And it says I already forked it, but it'll give you the option for it once you hit that. And all that does is it just basically copies this repo directly to like your own like GitHub account. So if you look at my repositories, you'll see that I have my own I5 right here. And that's all that does when you make the fork. So now it's like JE I5 from intrinsic-org/I5. I know that this isn't quite up to date. There are a few things that you don't have to do, like this install MongoDB, that's not necessary. You still want Redis, still want Elasticsearch, and Python. I know that also, so these steps are also accurate, except I know this one isn't necessary, and that should be the only one. I think the other thing that you need as well, which it doesn't mention, is Postgres running. I think instead of MongoDB, they use Postgres now. So that's something just to keep in mind, like whenever you get around to trying to get this I5 running on your computer. There are pull requests here as well. The pull requests basically just refer to like if a developer is trying to merge like a specific like branch that they're working on into the main I5 repo. That's when they'll make a pull request, and then it comes down to like all the developers to kind of jump in and take a look at it and review it, make sure that like no Mocha tests are failing when they run them against that PR. And then once they basically give the green light to it, then they'll have the option to merge it into whatever branch or the main intrinsic repo that they want to merge it into. Let me see if this gives an example. Yeah, like for example here, Holly wants to merge 4 commits into the 5.4 branch on the intrinsic I5 repo. And then that comes from her branch, that's I5-6774. And this all ties back to tickets in Jira. So this I5-6774, if I put that in here, then this is a ticket that PR is for. And it's also convenient as well, because once that PR gets made in GitHub, this development option appears in Jira. And so you'll see like one branch was made and then there's a pull request that's open. But if I actually click on that, then it'll give me some more details about that pull request. Like this is the ID that it has in GitHub right now. And if I hit that, and it pulls me back to the same page. Another nice thing, I guess, with GitHub as well is that you can actually see like what files were changed. I don't look at this one too often, but I guess one thing I try to keep in mind is as I see like if there's a specific issue that I'm trying to reproduce, or if there's like something that should have been fixed, and I'm just trying to figure out like what other dependencies might have been affected. Sometimes I look at the files changed and just try to get an idea of like what was changed and what else could be affected by that change. So you can see in here, like red indicates like what it was previously, and then green, and then the whole green kind of shows like what was added. So I guess that's just like kind of a quick summary of the I5 repo. The other one that I've been working on is I5 Cypress. And so this kind of goes back, I kind of went over the different files, like just from when we talked about Cypress yesterday. But same sort of files I was working on before, like this is where the fixtures are, and it should have everything that I had set up before. So these are all the backups. Same with the test under integration. And then I need to update this README, but but I think once you come down, probably like give me a ping once you like get into like actually cloning this and trying to get it running on your computer. I don't think there'll be too much to it. I think it's literally just going to be like you clone this into whatever directory you want to put it in, and then if you just run an npm install on it, that should be all there is to it. I'll show you real quick. Because when you clone that i5 repo and get it running, it actually creates, see, I'll show you. There we go. It creates a database here on Postgres, this i5 dev database. But on top of that, there's also, like, these are basically just multiple local Informer instances I have running. So I have like one that I use for running automated tests in Cypress. This is for testing 522, 5.3, 5.3.1. That one. This one is usually, this one I'm using to test 5.3.2 right now. But yeah, I guess I don't want to dump too much with you. This is pgadmin, which is a very handy tool to kind of monitor the different databases that we have running in Postgres. But you'll probably see more about that once you actually get, like once you actually start getting set up with installing Informer, then you'll be kind of working a bit more with pgadmin. But I'm just holding off on that for right now. Here we go. But just kind of keep that in mind that those are the sorts of things that are going to happen once you start getting set up with Informer. And specifically with this i5 repo, it's going to try to create the i5 dev database. And that kind of goes back to, and that's all in Postgres. So like I said, instead of MongoDB, we're using Postgres now. So that's just something you'll have to have running on your computer. Oh, I did think of something else. You can also see the different branches that are being worked on within this i5 repo. So right now the default is set for this 5.4. But you can also see like there are different branches for like 5.1.1, 5.1.2, 5.1.3. Another thing to keep in mind as well is I know that Brad and Andrea have also been working on different features within their own branches that they're trying to get merged into 5.4. And so you'll see references, like sometimes they'll talk about like the field sets branch and this field sets branch here. I know I've heard them talk about I-18 next, which is internationalization. That's kind of what that's referring to. And there's master, which hopefully 5.4 will get merged into soon once we get through the whole testing process. And then you can also see here, which is kind of useful, different like releases and when they went out. So 5.3.1, and then it kind of details the targeted fixes. So if you want to know like specifically what kind, I guess like kind of getting an idea of what kind of features they're kind of highlighting to customers. Sometimes it's good, that helps you get an idea of what kind of tests I should be focusing more on. That's kind of where I'll look at. Yeah, I'm not really use too much security. Those are all set on the repo, so you don't have to worry too much about those. Yeah, I think just the big things to kind of take away from it are just these pull requests. This, I would say, is a pretty huge resource to have access to, and just kind of know like this is where these tickets in Jira are actually, where these fixes are getting applied, and just kind of like understanding that connection between like the GitHub like PR that appears here, and then how it relates back to Jira. And then kind of like the different information you can get at just by going deeper into like this pull request and just seeing like, okay, where are they trying to merge it into? What branch is it coming from? What kind of like fixes are they trying to get merged into it? Those are all sort of things you can kind of get just by looking through some of these pull requests. On top of that, let me add one more thing, because this is good to know. So you'll see here, like whenever you get around to actually like trying to clone the repo, actually let me go to my fork, because that's where you should be cloning it. So like once you made your fork, if you hit this code here, it'll open this window and it'll say like, I clone, and then I just use HTTPS. So the command you're going to end up typing is git and then clone, and then this link, or this URL rather. And once you do that, it should ask for your login credentials, and you just enter that, and then it should just clone whatever you have in this fork. And that's just how you get started on like this, this git clone here.